For more on the American Rescue Plan, let me turn to Anthony Chan. He's the former chief economist at bankers JPMorgan Chase. Anthony, it's been nearly 2 months since the American Rescue Plan was passed by Congress and signed into law, $1.9 trillion in economic relief. So, in your expert opinion, how is it going? Is it helping the U.S. economy and most Americans?
Well, there's no doubt that it's giving a big boost to the U.S. Overall economy. We can certainly see that in the consumer spending numbers and the firepower of increased savings that is certainly going to support the economy in the second quarter and even during the second half of the year. But it is a lot of money, and it is money that is being borrowed, and at some point, those chickens will come home to roost.
Much of today's focus, as we heard in Nathan King's piece, was on bailing out restaurants, $28 billion restaurant relief program. Of course, restaurants, these businesses are also vital to the U.S. economy. Is this enough to help an industry that has been hit so hard?
I think it certainly is a step in the right direction. I would go just a little bit further, and not to ask for more money, but one of the things that I've been discussing for quite some time is the complaint of a lot of these restaurants that they can't get those workers to come back. And that is because there is not only unemployment insurance, which is okay, but they have enhanced unemployment insurance benefits, which adds another $300. And so many of these workers that work at these lower paid jobs make a lot more money by staying home than coming back. And so these restaurants are having a big challenge to bring these workers back. My solution is to allow these workers to keep that extra $300 if they come back, along with their regular salaries. After all, that money has already been budgeted. That money will, in fact, be absorbed by the overall economy. But if you let those workers keep that money, you don't have to pay them regular unemployment insurance. And guess what? They'll be happy to come back to work. So I think it's a real nice solution. And I'm a little disappointed that I'm not hearing anybody in Washington having this discussion.
That's a valid point. Let me move on to the general state of the U.S. economy, which is growing at its fastest pace in nearly 40 years. How concerned are you about inflation?
Well, at this point, we are seeing some inflation pressures. You're seeing that in commodity prices. You're certainly seeing that in the manufacturing surveys, the prices paid, which tell you a little bit about how much these firms are paying for their input costs. And you're getting some indication out there from the consumer price index and the producer price index that inflation pressures are, in fact, picking up. You even heard some words from the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, discussing the possibility of prices going up. So there is no doubt that inflation pressures are picking up. The big question is it transitory, temporary, or is that going to be a permanent situation? I think that at this stage, it's probably temporary. But if this continues for a longer period of time, then some of that will filter through. The only good news is that over the last 10 years, the Federal Reserve has not been able to maintain their price targets of 2%. So we still have a little runway to go in terms of allowing prices to go up before it becomes a problem for the American economy. But no doubt that inflation pressures are picking up. I don't think that's at all a question. It is happening.